Okay, hi everybody. Now, this is also part of week number 1. I'm going to divide these lectures up into sections instead of me just talking for 50 minutes or more. I'm going to divide my presentations up so that they are a little bit shorter. Now, obviously, because these are videos, you have the option of playing them more than one time. But if you still have questions, if I'm using some vocabulary that's difficult, or you just want to get a clear explanation of something that I mention, don't be shy. Just go ahead and ask me. And as I said in my earlier video, you can reach me by email, fharver@yahoo.com or fharver@hotmail.com. You can also text me at 010-5696-5812. Now, what we're going to be doing in this course, obviously, is talking about storytelling. But it's a big field, because really, storytelling has been in existence since time immemorial, which means storytelling goes back so far in human civilization and human history that we don't really know the beginnings of it. It's along with music, it is an original art form. Now, because it's very old, and because a lot of these ancient stories exist in the forms of myths and fables and so forth and seem kind of old-fashioned, it's easy to think that storytelling is very much sort of an historical activity, a past activity. But one thing that I'm going to want to underline in this course is that storytelling also exists now, and in ways that are surprisingly similar to what we used to have thousands and thousands of years ago. If one looks at popular culture, for example, one still finds forms of storytelling. Now, storytelling can range from big budget movies to just somebody sitting in a chair in a classroom and telling stories, or somebody making a video, a spoken word video. But we're going to try to integrate these different forms of storytelling, and basically this course is going to be divided up into 3 parts. We're going to have one section that's going to look at the history of storytelling, one section that's going to look at contemporary storytelling, and then we're going to have sort of a creative component in which people can experiment with storytelling themselves. Now, to start off, what I'm going to do is read you some descriptions of ancient stories. These are ancient myths. And at least one of them will be very familiar to you because it's a Korean myth. It's a creation, what's called a creation myth. And it's the story of Tangun. Now, the other stories might not be so familiar to you, but it's possible that you'll know these ones as well. For example, Gilgamesh, or the Odyssey, or some Norse legends. Norse means Scandinavia, for example, Norway and Sweden and Denmark and so forth. Now, I'm going to and by the way, when I read this material, I will put links below the video so that you can also go to the articles that I'm reading from, and you don't have to just listen to my voice. But I'm going to read you some sections of these, some descriptions of these different ancient stories. And then I'm going to ask you a couple of questions at the end of this video. Okay, now the first one is about Gilgamesh. Now, Gilgamesh was a king in Sumeria, and which is part of Mesopotamia. So this is sort of around the area that, for example, Iraq is in now. And he lived, he's sort of a mythical figure, but historians figure that he lived around 2000 BC. So that's around 4,000 years ago. And as often happens with these stories, there was a real person, somebody who historically existed, but there's this great kind of tendency to mythologize that individual and to sort of make that individual into sort of a superhuman, sometimes a godlike figure, sometimes a human being who nevertheless is remarkable, is much more powerful than other human beings.